Hey, we're just all going to start the show at once. How's that sound?
No, good to me.
That was
Welcome, welcome to Stupid O'clock, everybody. This is Joe. That's Dan. Other guy on the other side is John.
Yeah. Just so y'all know, we were sitting here before the show started, just talking. All of a sudden, I look up and it says there's a counter that tells you when to start the show because you got to schedule it. I look up and it says it's showtime. So we got ambushed. Hello, Joe Bob.
Well, we got started on time, so we're still good.
Oh, I didn't even see that, Joe. I'm sorry.
What?
Your private.
Okay.
Yeah.
The private
Oh.
chat.
I saw it now.
Yeah, I was just, I was saying, does anybody want to start the show? No? Okay, well, we'll all start the show.
Yeah. I just brought everybody down so you know.
Yeah. Because you could tell I was in a panic to get to it.
Yeah, really. Oh,
Oh, so what do you got going there? A Carillion freighter?
Yes. A Carillion YT30.
Oh, did it the wrong way. There we go. A Carillion YT what?
YT1300. That's the Millennium Falcon basically there in the background. And this is actually what it's supposed to do as a job, is hauling freight, the big cargo claw and the cargo container. And somewhere down the line, old Lando Calrissian got hold of one and turned it into a luxury yacht. So
Yeah.
with a lot of capes.
And hello, Facebook user. Don't know who you are.
That's me. Darn it.
John.
StreamYard just
StreamYard.com/Facebook and grant permissions. And hi, Sarah. I think we're billless tonight, aren't we?
Yes. He
Yes.
said he had to do something. Remember? Thursday?
Yeah.
It was going to be a very busy day, and he didn't think he would have time to show up.
And there's Zach. Hey, Zach, if you ain't got nothing going, if you want to jump on with us, we can
got an
talk
empty seat.
geeky. Yeah, we got an empty seat.
And Stephanie might show up for a little while, is what I heard.
I mean, Stephanie and Zach definitely need to get together.
Oh, that would be a conversation I'd sit back and just listen to.
You ain't kidding. It says Facebook user, what's up, gents? Is that you again?
It's apparently Facebook must have done up, or either StreamYard didn't update or Facebook didn't update, and they've dumped a bunch of people.
Okay. Zach, I am shooting you a link right now in Discord.
Where am I find my thing? Yeah.
La-di-da-di-da. I keep thinking of things that I need to go back and add to the damn manuscript. Now that I've got to the end of the book, now I'm going, oh, wait, I left this out. I left that out. And I'm going, stop messing with it. Just let it sit.
There we go.
And now Corey says it's Facebook. He didn't know what StreamYard forgot him. Yeah, every so often you got to re-grant permissions to them.
Usually right after an update.
Yeah.
I'm blaming Zuckerberg.
Why not? I'm blaming him for a lot of things. The War of 1812.
I'm still a Facebook user. Yeah, it's going to take 10 minutes, ain't it?
Probably.
Might take longer than that. Who knows?
Oh, I wanted to point out something about Thursday.
What happened Thursday?
We did not have any of our Northern Asian visitors on the show Thursday.
Yes, I noticed that.
Yes, well,
They've all been conscripted.
yeah, they've been drafted. This guy kept saying that.
Oh, you know what I just thought about though?
What?
They put up they blocked Facebook, Twitter, I think. What was the other one they blocked? Tinder.
Michaela's. That's okay, Michaela. Good.
That's all right. Had a great time with Michaela Thursday night on Last Man Standing, and she popped into the green room last night for a bit. And I understand from some photographs she posted that she has been playing in the dirt today.
I went and did a little dirt playing myself.
Gardening is such a fun hobby, especially if stuff actually lives. It's fun to plant stuff, it's fun to pick stuff. It's not all that fun for the in between.
Um, I had a bunch of seeds. Strange enough, from the pot of chili that we made back at Halloween.
Oh,
All those I saved all the pepper seeds. My jalapenos haven't sprouted yet. My habaneros are going through. I mean, they're already almost an inch. And it's only been like a week or so. And then, let's see, I got plenty of basil. I've got the 3 tomato plants I bought, and then I've got 3 sprouts that have come up on my
okay.
basil seeds. So I might have a lot of tomato plants this year.
One of the best tomato plants I ever had was one I did not put in the ground. It just sprouted by itself. I don't know. Okay, Corey. Yeah, your name showed up this time.
Oh yeah, let me try that. Hey, I want my name to show up. See, now this is the one I tried earlier, and both times it said I'm a user. Yep, still got me down as Facebook user.
Oh well, we know
Oh
who you
well.
are.
Let me try a different Facebook. I'll go to Stupid O'Clock. I'll go to the one Corey's on. Yeah. There. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Damn piece of shit.
Oh yeah, blame the computer.
Hmm.
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again?
It's got you now, John.
Yeah, I went to a different Facebook.
Oh, okay. Well, I sent Zach a link. I hope he shows up.
Stephanie, of course, sent us a message saying she might be on tonight, but she won't be on long. So.
And he just replied back, he'll be here in just a few minutes.
All right. It's not like we're in the middle of anything.
Oh, since we got Zach coming, NASA just rolled out their big super rocket, the SLS.
Uh-huh.
Artemis.
Artemis.
It actually has a name.
No, Artemis is the project. The rocket is SLS.
I thought that was the type of rocket. I thought they actually named this one Artemis.
No.
No. Artemis is like Apollo, Gemini, and Mercury.
Yeah.
It's a class.
Yeah. SLS, it's Space Launch System. Like the shuttle was called STS.
Right.
And but SLS, they have calculated it up for the 5 missions that it's going to be. It's $4.1 billion per launch. That is 4,500 starships complete.
And 3 congressmen.
More than 3.
Well, 3.5. I discount the fractions. Hello,
Hey, and
Ace.
there's Ace. Welcome to the show, Ace.
Okay. The crewed lunar flights are part of the Artemis system. Oh, we were both right and wrong. It is actually called Artemis 1.
That's the mission.
Well, that's the name of the ship, too.
Mm.
It is an SLS Block 1, meaning they only made one upgrade that we can pay for yet.
No, it's the first. Block 1's first edition.
No.
Yeah, Block 1 is first edition.
Maybe. I think Block 1 is actually like a beyond prototype, but that's United Launch Alliance is involved. That ought to tell you something right there. Okay.
Boeing's involved. Lockheed's involved. ESA's involved.
The halls of Congress are involved.
Yeah.
That's why it costs so damn much. I want to see the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts get together and start funding their own space program.
It'll cost less and work
It'll
better.
cost less, work better, and the cookies will be better.
Hey, that line about come to the dark side, they got cookies. That's not a lie, but the bullshit is they're sugar free.
I am,
What is it, Dan? Come on.
No. This is not the green room. I cannot go there.
I have said before, and I know I've told all you guys this before.
Mm.
I am not a picky eater. Okay, and if I can eat anything as long as it's prepared well. I could find something to eat if we went to Elmo's House of Squid. Okay, but I am one of the few people that actually enjoys oatmeal raisin cookies.
Okay, I do too.
Enough to make them myself. But I'll go down, pull out the blender,
That is
oatmeal,
not
some raisins and butter and vanilla.
that is not a skill I have developed. Although, yeah, I do not sneer at it, or it's just not something I've been
It's easy.
tempted to try and learn.
The only cookie dough that is hard to work with. Now, all cookie doughs are pretty easy to work with. The only one that is hard to work with, gingerbread,
Okay, I can see that.
molasses.
Ooh, yeah.
It's well, no, you actually once you mix it all up, it's actually fairly malleable. It just sticks to everything. You can't get it out of the bowl. You can't get it off the scraper. You can't get it off your fingers.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, no. Molasses. It doesn't. It ain't like cookie dough. It's
Yeah, you get your fingers stuck to the roof of your mouth for a week.
and it's got to be the good molasses too. So blackstrap or something like that.
Ooh, I remember that.
I'm
That used to be
tempted.
advertised on Porter Wagner.
I've got some blackstrap molasses downstairs, but I've also got some dark Bacardi Gold, and I'm tempted to make oatmeal raisin cookies with just a little bit of rum in them.
Okay, yeah,
What I'm thinking is soaking the raisins in rum.
yeah, that would work. I mean,
That pecan
It's-
pie, that pecan pie I did for Thanksgiving, where I soaked the pecans in rum. That was everybody. That one disappeared. It went away before the pumpkin pie did. That's shocking in my
Okay.
family.
yeah, it's like Lindsay's Christmas cake is basically a fruit cake, but by the time she gets through, there's like a pint, maybe a pint and a half of brandy in it. So it tastes really good, but the alcohol.
All right, Zach, you ready? Give me a thumbs up if you ready. All right.
Hey, Zach, welcome
Hey,
to
Zach.
the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hey, we were. I don't know if you heard me talk about it, but I sort of ran the numbers on SLS and
Ooh.
Starship.
Mm.
One launch of SLS could equal 4,500 starships.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
And then we were talking about some of the contributors to the SLS,
Hmm.
the fine people and rocket makers at United Launch Alliance and
Boeing,
Lockheed.
Lockheed,
Rocketdyne.
Lockheed.
and who's the capsule made by? Capsules. Northrop Grumman builds the capsule.
Capsule
There's a lot of
Corporation.
people on SLS. It's a
Capsule
whole buffet.
Corporation from Dragon Ball Z.
But we're just sort of talking about random stuff. I don't know. We started out with we forgot the show it was time to start the show.
Yeah, really. We like to talk so much we didn't even.
We were just
remember to hit
talking,
the
all of a
damn-
sudden I
hit
look
the
up
button
and
to
it's like-
start the show.
Done that a
Get
few
us
times.
together. We can't shut up.
Yeah, and then we got as far as cookie recipes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we went from Corellian
Freighters.
Like-
Like
to,
1300s and
to cookie recipes.
cookie. And gardening.
Gardening,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we covered
We covered a
gardening.
lot of stuff in there.
Oh,
In-
and
15 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah. Topic drift. It's what we do.
Oh, and John, I went to Dub's place today.
Did you do the dubstep?
No, you know where Dub's is in Red
Yeah.
Bank.
It's gone,
Yeah,
isn't it? Or is it still there? Or?
it's still there. Yeah, I ate there tonight. They had a lion burger. You know,
Dubs is in Red Bank. Red Bank High School is the Red Bank Alliance.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a double cheeseburger with bacon, sauerkraut, cheese, ketchup, mustard, pickle, onion. I leave the lettuce and tomato off. So I'm proud. I should be talking out my ass by the end of the night.
Stop giving me straight lines.
Do you remember there was a movie a while back had starred Peter Weller? It's called Screamers.
I thought that was the one you
Yeah.
were going to mention.
Joe gave that term a whole new meaning.
Oh, John, if you ever show up in the green room, nobody's going to be able to breathe for I don't know how long after you start telling
If
jokes.
Joe can show up and they still breathe, that's a miracle. Okay.
Different reason.
But anyway, Zach, Talk Rockets. Okay.
So,
There we went. Okay.
are you muted?
Maybe. I'm not trusting this microphone anymore. Half the time it's muted when it says it's not. So
Okay.
it's being
Okay.
replaced. So I think it thinks it's just going to be worse.
Oh, it's going to go on strike until the replacement actually shows up.
Joe,
Yeah.
show him your microphone if you can.
Oh,
Yeah,
The trick?
this was donated to Joe when he started the show.
yeah. Actually, for the Uncle Carl got us this, but it's a
Hang on a minute. I'm going to bring you up a bit here.
The newer mics. Yeah.
yeah. But I
was
learned
looking at it.
something about it.
We learned something interesting about it when we first started StreamYard.
Yeah.
You got to do the fader.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I don't like a blue microphone. I prefer it to be green.
Okay. Is green your favorite color?
He hasn't done this in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I prefer green, maybe.
There we go. All right.
What?
Do what?
Why? How?
You can talk to your blue in the face, and the microphone gives that way too.
Space magic. Ooh, okay, there we go.
And that's why it cost us $4 billion to build an SLS, because they've probably got a few of those mics on board.
They're called
Or
chameleons.
I can make it blue again.
Gonna turn my green mic blue.
I have a guess on how I think it's done, but
What?
You're playing around with the blue screen, green screen feature for this StreamYard.
For
thing.
StreamYard.
Just everything started turning. Everything that was green went blue. Everything that was blue.
Well, it was when Lewis kept going, why is my blue mic green? And it took us probably 45 minutes to figure it out.
And,
Well, when I did the virtual HallowCon, I actually had people from StreamYard in.
oh, okay.
And we're saying, we found a bug in your system. She's like, oh, God.
you saw the look on her face, like, oh my
Like,
god, not
oh,
on air,
God.
you know.
No. I said, no, it's pretty cool. And I did that, and she's like, what? We were betting there was probably a staff meeting
A
just
staff
after that.
meeting within the next 24 hours where she was showing people this. You know,
How can we take advantage of this without having to hire Joe Dog?
Next Streamlab commercials or StreamYard commercials.
Yeah.
Oh.
Crazy.
I have 2 beers over here on my little stand. This one has a blue label, right?
Uh-huh.
This one has a green label. Okay. We played around with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got a piece of green screen cloth that sometimes I'll drape over my chair,
Yep.
and then when I get up without turning the camera off, it's like there's no interruption to the background, and I'll come up and I'll be twiddling the chair around and then sit back down. I've often thought I've got a green Jedi robe that's almost the right color. Come on, pull the hood over my face and pretend I'm not here for a few minutes, and but
just the eyes, just the eyes.
oh no, I could do the entire thing. There are what are they balaclavas in the right color, and I can get goggles and matter of fact, I think they're under a wizarding franchise that we won't mention at the moment because I don't want their copyright people looking at me too strongly. But you can if you are somewhat into costuming, you can find enough stuff to do the Invisible Man with a green screen or blue screen effect in your own home.
Yeah, Joe Bachman says that makes me want to get one of those green suits now.
Exactly, Joe. Exactly. You could do it.
Oh, and before they added the feature to where you could cut your cam off but not leave screen, I had a picture taken of my background of my studio back here behind me. And if I wanted to get up and go walk away, I'd mute my mic and then go and fade it out. It looks like I'm beamed out. And when I get set back down, get set, everything set right, and I'd beam back in.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah. There was one show that I did. It wasn't on StreamYard, so I wasn't able to use the green screen. I had the green screen curtains all drawn back together in the back corner here, whereas now it's like an L shape, flat behind me and up one side. Somebody asked me, well, one of my background photos is one of my bookcases, just full of books. Somebody asked me, why on earth did you do a green screen that covers up a set of bookcases so you can show a picture of a set of bookcases? Well, that's the hallway books. This is the research books. Totally more interesting. There you go. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's my hallway.
I thought those were VHS tapes for a second.
Oh, they're just about the same size, but
is that one of your guys?
It ain't one of mine.
I don't think so. I don't recognize the name, but then again, when you have 1,000 people in Discord, you never know who's going to show up.
Okay, well, Alex, I'm not going to bring it up on screen, but you back up to a window, open the window, do your business, and then close the window real quick.
As disgusting as that answer is.
Here we go. Fun time.
Here we go.
Dun, dun,
We've got the Rocket Mama. Zach, this needs to be one of your guests for just interview. Stephanie, give him some of your background.
Oh, geez. Well, let's see. I worked in a civilian and military space programs for a couple decades. I have graduate and undergraduate degrees in astronomy, physics, chemistry, mathematics, with some secondary specialties in geology and I'm tired, guys. I'm brain dead tonight.
Meteorology. Storm chaser.
I'm a storm spotter. I don't chase. But yeah, I'm National Weather Service certified storm spotter. These days I write popular science and science fiction mystery. So I stay busy.
Then definitely.
So.
And on not weekly, but probably once every 2 or 3 months. Remember the Les Johnson I gave you all the information for?
Yep.
She has lunch or dinner with him.
Yeah, he and I went to graduate school together.
Oh, awesome.
Uh-oh.
And now we got a Chris.
Here comes trouble.
Oh,
Present.
Yo.
Bueller.
Oh, Stephanie, since Zach can never actually will probably never get an opportunity to see you give the story, tell Zach about the prelims for sending frogs into space.
Okay.
This you're gonna love this, Zach.
on that note, I'll be right back. I've heard this before. I don't want to be laughing out loud in the middle of it.
That's all right. I laugh out loud in the middle of it. Okay. So one of the shuttle missions that I worked, I was payload flight controller. Worked in the payload control center here in Huntsville, Alabama, where I live. One of the missions I worked was the Space Lab Japan mission. Now, the Space Lab Japan, or SLJ as we called it, was fairly heavy on material science and biological science. And one of the experiments was called the frog embryology experiment. And what they wanted to do, this was one of the first experiments to start looking at the effects of zero G on embryology. So they had a particular species of frog that they wanted to take up, and they would have eggs in various stages of development from developing entirely on the ground and hatched in space to the inverse and everything in between. It's kind of a spectrum. But in order to do that, that meant they were going to have to take up live frogs. Let's see. I'm on my cell phone as opposed to my my laptop, so
I'm already
let me get a
picturing
little.
this not going well.
Well, the experiment itself went really well and was quite interesting. But they decided that they needed to try to get a feel for how adult frogs behaved in a microgravity environment before they actually took them on board the shuttle. So they decided to run some experiments in the Vomit Comet. Are you familiar with the Vomit Comet?
Yes.
Okay. For listeners that might not be, viewers that might not be familiar, it's a cargo aircraft that is set up to fly a series of 40 parabolic arcs. And at the top of each arc, the crew goes weightless. It's kind of like the ultimate roller coaster. And it's actually, they used a Vomit Comet to film some of the weightless scenes in Apollo 13. So they were going to take up this frog in a Vomit Comet and watch to see how it behaved. You know, they had certain sequences planned, and they wanted to know what was going to happen. And I got to see the video of this particular test. So picture this. You're looking through a camera mounted on the forward bulkhead of the cargo compartment, looking aft through the fuselage. It's just one big empty fuselage. Except about a third of the way back, there's a table bolted to the deck. And on this table, there's a box about 8 or 10 inches cube. And so, and some, some papers and pens and things like that. So you're watching and you see things, loose stuff in the cabin start to float upwards, and you realize, okay, we've just hit the top of the first parabolic arc. John, did you have a question?
I just wanted to show you all that.
Oh,
that was when
yeah.
That was when they took Stephen Hawking up in one of them. Okay,
yeah. And that's pretty much what it looked like. And about where Hawking is floating was where the table was. So everything starts to drift up. So you see an astronaut come in from the right, floating over to the table, and he gets to the table, and he takes the lid off the box. and all at once you see this green streak. The frog has gone, I'm free! Kick, kapwing, 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 kapwing. Comes out of the top of the parabolic arc, and all at once the frog goes blap down onto the deck. Scoop the frog up, put him back in a box, put the lid on the box. Second parabolic arc.
Oh no.
Everything starts to float up. Astronaut floats in, takes the lid off the box. No frog this time. Reaches into the box, picks up the frog, sets him on the table. The frog says, table, I'm free! Kick, kapwing, 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 blap. Third parabolic arc. Everything drifts up. Astronaut floats in from the right, takes the lid off the box, reaches in, grabs the frog, pulls him out. This time he releases the frog in midair. The frog goes, I'm free! Kick, 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 kick. Why am I not going anywhere? And then you see this little, it wasn't even a light bulb. It was more like a match going off of the frog's head, as it were. And he starts swim, swim, swim. So now he's moving. He's swimming through the air, literally. Not very fast, but he's moving. So he finally gets over to the side bulkhead, and he says, I'm free! Kick, kapwing, 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 blap. By this point, we're all rolling on the floor in the office. I mean, it's just, this poor frog is ricocheting all over the dang cabin. And we're just kind of like, oh my gosh, they're going to kill that poor frog, But he just keeps going. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He wants to get loose. And so the last thing they do, having already figured out that frogs ain't real bright, the last thing they do is they're going to actually set the frog free, just take the lid off and let the frog loose in the cabin, wait something like 5 seconds, and then send the astronaut after the frog and time it and figure out how long does it take for the astronaut to catch the frog, get him back in the box and the lid on the box. Because you want to know this if the frog gets loose in the cabin in the shuttle. By the way, interestingly enough, so far as I can tell, at least on the Vomit Comet, you know what happens when you pick a frog up and scare it, right? You're going to get wet.
Mm-hmm.
This frog did not do that. Not that I could see. Because, I mean, he would have left streams of water behind him.
It would have been bubbles. Yeah.
Yes. Not to mention a certain amount of jet propulsion, I suppose. So this countdown clock comes up on the corner of the video, and so everything starts to float up. Astronaut comes in, takes the lid off the box and sets it aside, and then backs off. And so you see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, +1, +2, +3, +4, and there's no frog. And so finally, the camera view starts to jiggle, and you realize somebody is taking it off of its mount, and then it moves back through the fuselage to the table, and tilts down, and zooms in on the interior of the box, and the frog is hunkered down in the bottom of the box going, I ain't coming out. No way, no how. You can't make me.
It worked in rehearsal.
So, yeah. So we actually had no problems with frogs getting loose on the space shuttle.
Not a lot of room for them, though, to get lost either, though.
Well, no, you'd be surprised. They can get over in behind. There were a lot of experiment racks, and they can get over in behind those.
Okay.
So,
and you
I'll
definitely
grant
don't
you-
want to leave one back there for a few days.
So that's
Mm-mm.
well, after you come home.
Um,
Now I
these
wonder
were
what I
they
wonder
were
what
they
a
were fairly
hummingbird would,
large frogs.
I wonder what a hummingbird would do. They're already used to being able to navigate in 3D. Backwards, forwards, up, down, left, right.
Hmm.
I
Now
mean,
you've
Like
got me
Write a
interested.
proposal.
uh,
Send it
But
up to
so,
Polaris Dawn.
but yeah, one of the things that they discovered in the actual flight, the actual shuttle flight with this experiment, was that the frogs that developed entirely or mostly on the ground, uh, the tadpoles, I should say, when they hatched on orbit, they completely lost all orientation, and they would just swim around in tight little circles and spirals until they exhausted themselves and died.
Mm.
On the other hand, those tadpoles that gestated entirely or mostly on orbit were completely adapted to the microgravity environment and had no problems navigating. However, when they were brought back down to Earth, guess what? They lost all orientation. They swam around in tight little circles until they exhausted themselves and died.
Mm.
So it was really quite interesting.
So I guess that's why they're curious about what will happen with humans with the Mars missions and stuff.
There have been some other experiments that have occurred since then with I think particularly with mammals, and they find that mammals adapt better. The mammalian fetuses tend to adapt better to changes in the environment like that. So now I don't know. I haven't seen any of the data about things like bone structure and stuff like that. I don't know if I would think that it would tend to affect the bone structure if you weren't careful,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Would the fact that the mammals have larger nervous systems have something to do with their being able to adapt better?
I think it's just because mammals are more adaptive than most other animals.
Yeah, I think that's
That's
probably the case.
yeah. That's why
Yeah,
that's why we're at where we're at. So yeah.
the brains are more developed
Well,
than amphibians than amphibians.
Okay.
Um, and so I think that has somewhat to do with it. But yeah, it's the embryology, microgravity embryology is very much one of the cutting edge biological explorations right now. So
There's one reason I can think of that they would not put a hummingbird on the ISS. Bird poop.
yeah, but hummingbirds are so little. They poop a bit.
Try catching him.
Yeah, boy, ain't happening.
And
Just a
with
little
their
diaper.
and with their metabolism, hummingbirds poop a lot. It ain't big, but it's all over the place.
I don't have a hummingbird feeder, so I couldn't tell you.
I can tell you.
uh,
that would be
we-
good for the gardens.
we've had trumpet vine growing in the backyard. I've had the darn things hover in front of my face and say thank you and then fly off.
Um,
They like butterfly bushes too.
Mm-hmm.
my train of thought derailed, guys.
Frogs, mammals.
Hummingbirds at the space station.
Yeah, well, they're
Bird
also
poop.
they're also so small they could really easily get in behind the racks.
Yeah.
One of the other biological experiments that flew on that particular mission, they took up 3 koi, fairly large, and each one was in an individual cylindrical aquarium, completely enclosed. So as they didn't have trouble with water or anything like that. But they had electrodes implanted in various places in the brain so that they could monitor the fish reactions. And they discovered something really interesting that nobody had ever known before. Fish are handed.
Left-handed, right-handed?
Left-handed, right-handed, or as the case may be, left-finned, right-finned. Because what does a fish do? I mean, we even have an expression for it. When it gets sick and it's about to die, it goes
Belly up.
bingo. So, but it turns out that when the fish is sick, it recognizes this fact, and it recognizes that it's trying to turn, and it will try to right itself as a survival mechanism. So these poor fish, they get up there and they literally don't know which way is up, and so they keep trying to turn themselves. And so they always turned in the same direction. Two of the fish always turned clockwise, one fish turned counterclockwise. So they literally would have to periodically pull out the aquariums from their housing and turn them in the opposite way because the fish were winding themselves up in the EEG cords, cables. And so in order to keep the fish able to swim, they had to untangle them and unwind them. And so they realized, okay, the two that were rolling up clockwise were right-handed, and they had one left-handed one that wanted to roll the other way. So that was a very interesting result from that experiment. It wasn't what they expected. That wasn't what they were looking for, but it was one of those serendipitous discoveries.
They learned something.
They learned something.
Yeah.
They sure did.
One of those cases where everybody looks at it and go, that's interesting.
And it only cost a couple dozen million.
Oh, knowledge doesn't have a price tag.
That was a Japanese experiment. So they footed it.
With koi.
SLJ was all of the experiments were Japanese experiments.
Okay.
So the NASDA or whatever they're calling it these days.
JAXA.
JAXA, okay. It was NASDA at the time. Nippon Aerospace.
You okay, Joe?
Yeah. Katz was up on the computer earlier today, and I realized he stuck his nose on the camera lens.
Oh.
Yeah, you're a little bit clearer now.
Yeah. Well, at least
I look like I'm in a fisheye lens because I'm using my phone.
You are in a fisheye lens.
Yeah.
Well, at least the cat didn't do what the dog did and message Fritz 278 times in under a minute.
Oh, is he still speaking?
Fritz Ling?
Yeah.
Okay. What did Fritz do?
You know, Fritz was banned on Facebook for 60 days, and he's just now getting over the 60-day ban.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
What from?
We don't know. That's just it.
I think it was something from 5 years ago.
It's Facebook. It never
It's
works.
Facebook. They can, ban you for whatever.
There's a reason why I call it faceplant.
Yeah, really. They'll eventually they'll be looking at stuff in your permanent record from kindergarten.
Good luck on that. That'd been a while ago.
I reported all their fact checkers for bullying.
Did you get a response?
Don't laugh. 5 of them are gone.
I wish I thought you were for real on that.
I don't laugh. I give you their names.
He does.
He's telling the absolute truth.
Cool.
The interesting thing about most of the independent fact checkers is most of them work for liberal newspapers, so you can track it back to their newspaper. I'm an independent fact checker. No, you're not independent.
Yeah.
independent,
John,
you
you
wouldn't be
deserve
working
a
for that
medal.
liberal rag you're working for. So,
Well, what I find interesting is when they start trying to fact check my science.
well, technically,
Yeah, that
is
pisses
what,
me off.
technically
Yeah.
that is what
It
scientists are
should.
supposed to do.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Peer review.
but-
Okay.
Yeah, but she's
That's
already
not-
fact checked it.
That's yeah. If I'm posting an article that's already been fact checked, it's already been peer reviewed and appeared in a journal, then they need to lay off. They got no business doing anything on that.
But if it's not what they feel it ought to be, then they're going to try and do something to stop it.
Well,
It's
if-
wrong, but it's what they think.
Joe, can I cuss?
Yeah,
Yes.
go for it.
Oh, wait. No, you got 12 minutes.
No, she can cuss. I don't give a damn.
Hey, Stephanie.
They need to keep their damn mouths shut about stuff that they don't know shit about.
that'll
gonna
be
read-
the day.
Absolutely.
We're going to rework the Conan speech for you. Okay. The first one is crush your enemies under the weight of your massive PhDs. To see the science driven before you. And to hear the lamentations of the trolls.
Oh, that's
I love it.
Well, I got.
I want
Yeah.
that on a T-shirt.
I told y'all about my Facebook warning several years ago where the dog was up under the cover and I ripped one loose, and the dog started coughing and all that. So I lift the cover up and he looks at me like, "Dad, what the hell?" Somebody reported me as animal abuse.
It was probably Donna.
Joe, that
Yeah.
was animal abuse. Okay.
Hey, the dog crawled under there on his own. I didn't invite him.
Which
My
one,
pri-
Jerry?
My previous
Terry.
cat, since we're talking about animals here, bless her heart, as she got on up in years, and she liked to crawl under the covers with us in the bed. And as she got on up in years, she started having problems controlling certain bodily
Things.
functions. Yes. And so one night, she was under the covers with us, and all at once she starts pawing the bedclothes like she's trying to bury something. And we hadn't gone to sleep yet, so Daryl and I were both, oh no, we're going to have to strip the bed and put clean sheets on. So we threw back the covers, and this stench emerged from under the covers, and her head popped up. She looked at us, and she looked where she'd been trying to bury something, and there wasn't anything there. She had farted so bad that she was trying to bury the fart. But yeah,
Zach?
it was eyebrow curling.
Zach, welcome to Stupid O'Clock.
We don't
Bless
call
her
it
heart,
stupid
she was
o'clock for
trying to
nothing.
be.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we're at the high point of that parabolic arc right now.
Yeah. On the way back down.
Oh, I think we've still got a few more peaks to hit before the end of the show.
Well, the thing to realize about a vomit comet flight is that it's 40 arcs, and they don't stop.
I just thought about something though. I bet you have to have really good weather for that.
You do.
Because can you imagine you're in the arc and you're weightless in the back of it and you hit turbulence?
Oh, man.
Not good.
No.
You talk about the frog caroming around the inside of the fuselage.
Basketball Jones.
Frog's eyes get some.
And you're muted out again, Zach.
I was this close to booking one for this year, and then they doubled their prices, and I was like, "Ah,
What's that one company?
0G."
No. There's a private company that does it.
Oh,
Zero G.
Is that it? 0G?
Yeah.
I think so. Pretty sure they're the only one.
Oh.
Or the main one. Like they're a big plane though. It's not like 2 or 3 people.
It's like a A300
25 or
Airbus or
30
something.
or
If now also realize that not only do you go weightless at the top of the arc,
you get extra at the bottom.
You get extra at the bottom. You get a couple extra G's at the bottom. Yeah.
We were in a C-17 leaving Iraq, or coming into Iraq, both actually. But they were doing a combat landing in a C-17.
Whoa, coming in hot.
Coming in hot, no lights, really fast, steep angle, and they change the angle constantly to try and throw off any anti-aircraft guns or anything, rockets or whatever they're trying to shoot at the aircraft, right? At night. And we got a slight vomit comet effect. As they were heading into the airport, and all of a sudden they start diving in to do that combat dive. Now, C-17, that's a big aircraft.
Yeah.
Okay. You could probably, it would make a decent badminton court. Okay. You could play a decent game of tennis in the inside of this thing. All right. Now, the guys that were in the center on the pallet seats, they actually bring in a pallet with
airline seats.
With airline seats, yeah. Where the peons coach. They're like coach seats.
Yeah.
But they got them on a pallet. So they roll the pallet in, lock it in place. That's where everybody sits in the middle. But they've also got the jump seats down the side. The guys in the airline seats didn't notice it so much. But if you, and I was one of them, if you're one of the guys that was sitting on the side, when that thing started happening, your legs were trying to go up in the air. And it's like, whoa.
You're going to laugh, but I was on, it was at least a 747, might have been a 57, I can't remember. But we had a medical emergency on board. And it was an elderly woman, and they thought she might have been having a heart attack. And so they called the tower. We were fairly close to our destination, and they radioed the tower that they had a medical emergency on board. And so the tower cleared the approach for us. And that's about how the guy came in for the landing, because I was kind of like, oh, this is cool.
You would.
Everybody else around me was scared to death. I was like, this is cool, man.
What was funny about this one when we were going in? Of course, everybody's got on gear. You know, there's rucksacks sitting around, just all sorts of stuff like that. It starts going in, and you can see the straps floating around. Just whoa. Now they had the lights off they went red light in the plane. So this is all in disco lights, in the back of the plane. Yeah.
Have you ever been to Disney World, to MGM Studios?
Yes.
Have you ever ridden the Hollywood Tower of Terror?
Oh, I loved that. Oh God.
First time I ever rode that, I very, very deliberately did some things to pay attention to such, because you're actually on that one. Everybody's like, well, you're falling. No, you're not. You're being accelerated downward at a rate faster than gravitational acceleration. But among other things, I had this was back when I wore contact lenses, so I had a pair of glasses, sunglasses, on a cord around my neck, and because it's dark, it's dark in the ride, so I had them off, hanging around my neck, and only once I'm like, oh, there come my glasses. Oh, that's interesting, and they're still moving up. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. So it's my ponytail. My ponytail's coming straight up. It's just stuff like that. And people will carry popcorn on the ride. And and they'll do it deliberately. They're not supposed to, but they'll sneak it in. And the popcorn will just go.
I was
Now,
one of the first.
I love roller coasters. At Six Flags over Georgia, they used to have something they called a parachute drop.
The
Yeah.
Great Gasp.
Yep.
It has since been replaced by something like an elevator that is accelerated downwards rather than just free fall. The parachute drop was quite enough for me. I got what seemed like 45 minutes of free fall, but was probably less than 5-10 seconds. And I was never gladder than when I felt the cable start taking up the slack and slow me down before my feet touched the ground. And I go, once was enough.
Well, John, you were showing Raccoon Mountain the other day.
Yep.
The elevator there. My dad was working during construction there.
Oh,
It's
no.
1,500 feet.
You know the elevator I wish I could take Dan on?
Which one?
The old Ruby Falls elevator.
Oh, yeah.
The Army Corps of Engineers elevator that they put in there to put ammo in Ruby Falls back during World War II.
Okay.
We had a big TNT plant here in Chattanooga. Made a lot, just tons and tons of TNT. Well, they had to store it someplace. Well, it just so happens there's a train tunnel that runs right near the base of Lookout Mountain, right along Tennessee River. And there's a cave entrance there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That runs beside the interstate now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's also a tunnel through the mountain, too.
That you don't get to see. All that shit's locked up now. But they used to sneak in the TNT at night and offload it into those caverns. They also had an upper level bunker where they brought it in by truck, and that's a haunted house now, or it was on several occasions. I don't know if it is now, but that whole mountain. There is a joke that during World War II, if somebody had been careless with the match, we wouldn't have a Lookout Mountain.
I was kind of thinking, and it would, if you got a shaft going up to the attraction, it's gonna go. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it had sloughed off into all the way to the Tennessee River.
Yeah, well, you'd have lost a good chunk of Lookout Mountain and blocked a good chunk of the Tennessee River, so it would have been devastating. Just more than one way, and it would have blocked the only interstate going in that direction. Well, there was a highway back then.
Yeah, I started to say it wouldn't have been back then.
Well, the Raccoon Mountain elevator, my dad was there during construction, and they went to test the elevator for the first time. It had like almost 1,500 pounds in it as, ballast weight. Well, that's not the original elevator car because they had to replace it after the first step test.
Uh-oh.
When the elevator took off going down, it slammed the weights into the ceiling.
Okay, yeah.
And when it stopped at the bottom,
it's,
Boom.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that I wasn't frightened of the parachute drop. It was just horribly uncomfortable.
The bad part about it, Dan, was that initial stop before the final drop.
Not really. No, it was just the part to where, okay, this is what 0G feels like. All right, I don't like it.
That's the part that got to me the one time that I rode it. Like I said, there was like an initial drop, and then that second slight drop before the final drop. That was what got me.
There's a ride at the Space and Rocket Center here in Huntsville called Space Shot. And it's basically your accelerated upward. And there's same sort of ride with different names all over the country at different parks. But that was kind of interesting in that at the top, I kind of, because they shoot you up and you're kind of ballistic, controlled, but kind of ballistic, and so you stop at whatever point the combined momentum of all the people in the car takes you to. And at that point, you're now at the top of it's not a parabolic arc, but it's a but it is. It's I'm trying to think of what they call a degenerate conic section. A degenerate parabolic arc is a line up and down.
Yeah.
And so you get to the top and you hit weightlessness. And that was extremely distressing because I still had a good bit of upward momentum going when the car as a whole stopped. So I wound up crumpled up against the upper restraints with my butt not even touching the seat and feeling like if this restraint breaks, I'm coming out of this car. So that was kind of not fun, and my shoulders were kind of bruised when it was over with.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now I remember there was another ride at Six Flags. It's not very well known. It's one of the older ones, I do assume, but it was basically a centrifuge. And you're standing there up against a wall that starts spinning around like a merry-go-round. You get pressed up against the wall. When it's going fast enough, the floor, what was the floor, drops out from under your feet. And people are trying to pull their legs up and put their arms against the wall, looking really cool. And I'm just, da-da-da-da-da. That was fun. It's like laying on a waterbed, basically.
You got to be careful though. You got to look at the center of rotation on the ceiling, or you're going to get really sick.
I didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
No. I was looking at the people on the far wall. I was not seeing the rotation. I was feeling it. I could feel the sideways motion, but it was basically like laying down on a bed.
My contact lenses, like I said, I used to wear contacts, and I could feel my contact lenses go, and this one go in the other direction. I was like, "Oh, please don't slide off the center that far. I don't want to have to be fishing you out from under my eyelids." But yeah, that was a weird sensation because I could feel it. And but yeah, I used to play games on those things. It's like, okay, let's see. This is shuttle equivalent liftoff G-forces. What can I do?
Yeah, well, I don't think this thing ever went beyond just what would have been 1G of pressing you against the wall, if it even got that high. Might have been 3/4. You weren't sliding down. But
the one at the Space and Rocket Center here in Huntsville, it pulls about 3.5 Gs.
I've never been in anything like that.
It's shuttle equivalent.
I'd probably find it horribly uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's at my current weight, no.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ride on it, but they wouldn't let me when I brought the grandkids down there. I told you the story that I got accused of being special forces. When the guy asked me about, he says, "Well, I'll hang out here with you since you can't go in." I'm leaning there, and he goes, "What happened?" I said, "Oh, I messed my back up at work." He goes, "Oh, which VA hospital fucked your back up?" I said, "I didn't serve." He goes, "Oh, okay." So we talked a little more. He goes, "Be honest with me. What VA hospital screwed your back up?" Because I can tell it's a VA hospital. I go, "No, sir, it wasn't." Finally, I turned and looked at him and said, "I did not serve. Don't ask me again." And he went, "Oh, okay." But he insisted that I served in the military. And I'm saying, "No, I didn't." And he's like, "Okay, well, what did you do in the service that you can't say you were in the service?" Was the look on his face. Of course, you told me it might be because of my cane.
Yeah.
And then I told John he asked me how I messed it up. And I said, I bent over and picked up a Coke bottle. And he was telling me that they were using Coke bottles as IEDs.
Well, Coke cans.
Coke
Using
cans,
them to
yeah.
make grenades. But yeah.
So yeah, this guy's thinking I'm some type of badass special forces.
Well, he's a third, right?
Yeah.
What, badass?
Joe is with the Chemical Corps.
Well, that's half. Chemical warfare. Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably get me kicked out of a lot of special forces, wouldn't it?
Wait a minute, we don't have the masks on yet.
I don't know. That might be more biological, boy.
I'm trying to figure out which convention that Joe is in violation of, the Hague or the Geneva. That's
Embrace the
Possibly
power
both.
of and.
Possibly both.
Well, let's just be glad he leaves out the nuclear.
I don't know. If you'd have been at the last Anachrocon, you'd have wondered about that one.
I was.
a nuclear weapon would have been a blessing. Okay,
I'm surprised the plants outside are still alive.
they're not.
They were plastic. That's the only reason.
No, these weren't plastic. They were bushes that were actually bearing fruit.
Oh yeah, the blackberry bushes. Yeah.
The berries weren't black before Joe got there.
Oh.
They weren't dead either.
No.
Hey, Chris, all I'm gonna say is them 2 Delta flight attendants saved your ass.
I know, and I'm glad because it was bad enough outside with all that open air.
Did you hear that story, Stephanie?
I don't think I have. No.
No, I got Chris in an elevator. Were we coming down from the room?
I think we went up to the con
suite or something, and we were coming down. I told Chris, I said, I'm gearing up, ready to go. About that time, the elevator stopped, doors opened, these 2 Delta flight attendants walked on.
Yeah, and they were pretty.
And the door closed. I looked at Chris like, oh, shit.
And I'm like, oh, my God, please don't.
Door opens, doors open, we walked out, and I looked at him and said, you know, the girl saved your ass, don't you?
Then we went outside, and he broke wind, and I still almost died. We're talking outdoors, plenty of volume of air, and it still was so bad.
Other side of the highway from Hartsville, Jackson. You know, there's always a breeze out there.
Oh, yeah.
There is the other elevator story I do remember.
Do what?
There is the other elevator story I do remember.
Oh, that was Mid-South.
Yeah, you were alone and got off, and other people got on, and you could hear the shrieks of distress as they went down 10 floors.
And Gary Shelton backed up the story.
Yeah, he made you a legend.
Well,
Zach.
For whatever it's worth, by the time the shuttle came down after a mission, which was typically 10 days to 2 weeks, from what I understand from the people that had to go in and clean and remove stuff, yeah, it was pretty aromatic also.
It made the back end of a Trailways bus look pretty good.
Yeah.
Stephanie, you know, if somebody can make Gary Sheldon say, oh my God, that was you.
Yeah.
Because you know Gary isn't easily fazed by hardly anything.
That's why I'm just sitting here picturing it. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
There's a reason why I'm glad that my sinuses are usually so stuffed up I can't smell anything.
Now, do you know why I wanted to strangle a certain someone for bringing pickled eggs?
Oh.
They're a delicacy where I'm from.
I don't care.
And
I
that was
would
before
like
the
to
Mandalorian
retain my
came out.
olfactory senses.
Oh heavens!
Not have them
Well,
incinerated.
We have
with
the
you
a bunch
most
of
know,
intellectual
odorous air.
discussions on this show.
hydrogen sulfide is actually a poisonous gas in sufficient quantity.
What about ammonium sulfide?
That too.
Look, we don't have nothing combining with Joe's natural methane.
No, that's what the sulfide and sulfate compounds are what give it its aromaticity.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good word. I'm going to have to remember that one. Thank you.
That one's going to be in the book soon.
Aromaticity. No, you need to copyright that
Aromatic strength.
and then like sell it to like Febreze or Renews It or one of those guys. Okay.
Combats aromaticity.
Zach, we're sorry this has deteriorated into a.
Don't be. It's great.
Zach, what do you think?
Deteriorated. This is a step up for us.
Do not take Stephanie.
We broke Steph.
Oh me.
Stephanie.
I don't know that we broke her, but we might have bent her just a little bit.
She's definitely a little bit more bent than when she came on the show. Yes.
Even Elron's got the good sense to stay away.
Yeah, really. Just for the record, Stephanie got on Facebook tonight and told us that she was only going to be on the show for a little while, and I think we fixed that problem.
She's going to be so exhausted from laughing.
Time flies
Sleep
when you're
good
having
tonight, though.
fun.
I want sharks with friggin' lasers on their heads.
And $1 million.
And with that, we ran Sarah off. Good night, Sarah.
Thanks for
Good night.
Oh,
We can't get sharks. Sharks are an endangered species now. We can't get sea bass.
Just make sure they got freaking laser
Lasers
beams.
on their heads.
Sea bass NATO
Oh.
doesn't have the same ring.
How about just nothing NATO?
Speaking of paleontology,
Yeah, really.
did you hear about the new whale species that they've discovered that may have been the largest predator ever?
No.
Apparently they have found some type of predatory whale. And,
Interesting.
and the ones they found are small. I don't know how they figure that one out, but it makes a megalodon. Well, let's just say to give Meg a run for its money. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting.
And they can tell it's a juvenile.
Somebody told me
Oh.
last
So
month,
when he said little, he meant young, not
Yeah.
okay.
um,
Crap.
somebody told me last month, said that there was no such. They were talking about megalodons, and they said there was no such thing as a megalodon. I was like, what? What do you mean there's no such thing as a megalodon? It's made up shark thing. They made it up. They made it up on the Sci-Fi Channel.
No.
Okay.
They used it on the Sci-Fi Channel. They didn't make it up.
If you go to Patriots Point, okay, over in what is it, South Carolina, North Carolina? It's right on the border. I can't remember if it's North or South Carolina. Charleston,
South
Carolina.
South.
Well, it is on the north side of the river, so it's no. I mean, it may. I don't know where the borderline is there. It may be in North Carolina, right across from South Carolina, Fort Sumter. Right? It's that area, and they've got an aircraft carrier. They got a destroyer. They had a submarine there, and at one time they had a nuclear icebreaker, but it got the Atomic Energy Commission took it back eventually. Why, I don't know. But anyway, we were over there, and if you go through their gift shop there at Patriots Point, after you tour all the ships and everything, go to Fort Sumter, go to their gift shop, they have got fossilized megalodon teeth, because apparently that area around Charleston was a breeding ground for megalodons back in ancient times. And to this day, when they go out digging oysters, they're finding
You can find megalodon teeth the size of my hand.
the ones
and
that
bigger.
they've got on the wall that are not for sale are this damn long and about this wide at the root.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like a tooth. It looks like a flippin' prehistoric piece of construction equipment for woodworking. Okay, it looks like something you'd cut beams with.
Yeah, I've got a small megalodon tooth that's a pendant, and it's about.
And those were the small ones.
Yeah.
And that one I was talking about, that one that was bigger than my head,
Mm-hmm.
that's a small one. Well, it's not. That's a medium one.
Yeah.
Can you imagine something like that? I mean, just.
I don't really want to, yeah, because I like to sleep at night.
I'd rather imagine it than actually experience it.
Oh,
Thank you.
this is true. This is true.
You were talking about the one you have as a pendant. Did I ever tell you the story about my daughter and the shark tooth?
No.
It's back in the days when I was working with Susan and Jeff Stringer building haunted houses. This guy who helped us helped us, build the thing and helped run it a little bit. He was standing there, and my daughter looked over and saw his shark tooth necklace, and she goes, "Is that a real shark tooth?" And he goes, "Yes, yeah, honey, it is." And she goes, "Did you go skydiving for it?" Now this guy, quick on the draw, says, "Sure did, honey. I jumped out of that plane, flew right up beside that shark, grabbed him by the tooth, yanked the parachute, and pulled it clean out of his head." My daughter goes, "Really?"
Apple don't fall far from the tree.
And yes, that is a true story.
How old was she?
27.
14.
I could see her getting that from you or Donna.
That came from her mama. Oh, that's nothing. She locked herself in the car one day.
Good thing it was a convertible, huh?
No. It was one of those cars one of the newer cars, when you put it into gear, it automatically locks the doors. Well,
Okay.
she cranked it up, threw it in reverse, and rolled back out of the driveway. She hit the gas and nothing happened. Then it wouldn't start. She couldn't figure it out. Calls me on the phone and says, "My car won't start." And I said, "Okay, well, where are you at?" She said, "I'm out in the middle of the road." "Well, what road?" "In front of the house." So I walk out there and I'm looking at it. I'm looking everything over. I said, "Well, open the door." She says, "I can. It's locked." I said, "Okay. Will the window roll down?" She reached, window rolled down. I pulled the thing up and opened her door. She goes, "How'd you do that?" I looked over and the car was still in reverse. I said, "How about putting it in park?" She goes, "Put it in park." I said, "Okay, now crank it." Cranked right up. I said, "Okay, you're good to go now." She goes, "What'd you do?" I'll explain it later.
Three is company too. Woo.
Yeah, she's special.
Now I understand blonde jokes for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, You just made me think of half a dozen.
Oh, don't do that to me. When that was back in the, I guess it was the 90s when they got really popular. I wound up having to get my husband to make me a button that said, "No, I do not want to hear the latest blonde joke."
Oh, they're old.
So,
Yeah. See, I don't have to tell blonde jokes. I just tell stories that my daughter's done.
well, people think that because I'm blonde that I'll get a kick out of it, and I'm kind of like, hold on a second here. Wait a minute. Why would you think that I would relate to it? Did you not take a look at my resume?
Stephanie, anybody that thinks you're not smart is,
Pretty stupid.
yeah, or just plain dumb.
Oh, Lord.
You'd
I
be
mean-
surprised how many people have tried to explain my own science to me. So,
Actually, in a way, yes, I would. In a way, I wouldn't, because I know how people are, but I also know how brilliant you are and how pointless it is for them to be trying to do that.
one
That
of the
doesn't
things,
keep them from trying.
no, he doesn't. One of the
Yeah.
things that I have caught, and it's kind of interesting, because, even when I'm not writing hard science fiction, I'm writing hard science fiction. Because, even when I'm doing like space opera, I'm working out the science behind it. And so then somebody was like, "Oh, she's just a writer. She doesn't understand about sunspots and solar flares." And I'm like,
You mean space weather?
uh,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
You wrote a paper on that stuff, didn't you?
Well,
Stephanie, I just picture you being like Bugs Bunny. They don't know me very well, do they?
pretty much, yeah.
Oh, okay. Here's one that you can relate to. There was somebody that was comparing and contrasting different kinds of insulation for people's homes. And the subject of fiberglass came up compared to all kinds of other stuff that you could use. I made a comment, la di da di da. Here comes somebody about 4 months later in the comment section after having watched this video and goes, "Oh, well, that's too bad. Fiberglass insulation's worthless for insulating people's houses anyway." And I'm going, "You, sir, are obviously a troll." For those who are uninitiated, I have a black belt in fiberglass.
He does.
It's only been like half a century I've been making this stuff. So.
He knows glass foo.
Come here. Come here.
About the only thing better is KO wool.
Is that the rock wool?
I guess it's what they line forges and furnaces with.
Yeah. Much higher durability to it, higher melting temperature and whatnot. Yeah.
Hello, Elron.
Hey, kitty.
The boy has.
Is he licking or chewing or?
Neither one. I'm scratching the far side of his neck.
Oh.
He just purring.
Yeah, he's just purring.
Did you see Fritz's Facebook page that he found a pig?
You found what?
He found a pig.
P-I-G?
P-I-G.
Oink,
oink, oink.
Oink, oink, oink. Apparently, one of his neighbors. Let me find that.
Yeah, one of his neighbors has a little pot-belly pig, and it got loose.
Oh.
And apparently, it's been introducing itself to everybody in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And by the time he got back out, to try to wrangle it up to bring it in the fence, it was gone.
Oh, they figured out who it belongs to, by the way.
Oh, they did?
Yes. They
Okay.
did.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting a moose.
He's now snuggled up against my side over here. So
Velcro kitty strikes again.
That's a good looking cat.
yeah, and he's a sweetheart too. So.
Oh, and Chris got introduced to Lucky,
Who's Lucky?
the black cat.
Oh, okay.
I'll admit it before. It's just been a long time.
Yeah.
It was much smaller.
There's the cat, or the pig.
Yeah, that ain't Lucky. Well, it might be Lucky.
Yeah, he just wandered down the driveway, said hello, and turned around and left.
I found out that the pig's name, it's a female pig. The pig's name is Pepper.
Pepper. Okay.
That's right.
Peppa Pig.
So I told, and I chimed in. I told him that is a Vietnamese potbelly pig. That is a juvenile. They will get to be about 300 pounds plus, and they like corn products and Cheerios. And they make pretty decent pigs. They're easily housebroken, or they make pretty good pets. They're easily housebroken. They do well with dogs.
What about cats?
My cat and the pig liked each other, but
I wouldn't know what to do with a 300-pound pet.
Don't let it step on your foot. I know that.
No
you
shit.
You build a really big house and keep it in the backyard. And about once a month, you got to go buy about 100 pounds of hog food.
That sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Yeah, I had experience from about 2 weeks ago. I went and bought 100 pounds of hog food. Have y'all? Oh, wait. Stephanie may not know that I have a pig.
I did not know you had a pig.
I have a big pig. See if oh, wait, I should have it. Settings, virtual backgrounds. Okay, let me bring up my virtual pig here.
I hope that my sudden appearance didn't fit that description.
We can barely hear you, Dan.
Hang on. How about that?
That's a little better.
Much better.
Well, it only moved by a quarter inch.
But that made a world of difference.
Stephanie, did you hear the news about not this last Starlink launch, but the launch before? What the launch director said right before it launched?
No.
Zach, your mic's muted. You're muted.
I need a new mic. I'll butcher it, but it was when the whole Russian Roscosmos guy was saying American broomsticks and all that. And when she was supposed to say, like, you're just go for launch, she's like, let America broomsticks fly and freedom ring, your go for launch or something. And I was like, Twitter broke. No one talked about the launch. It was just that went out on
that rocket could have blown up and no one would have been talking about it. They would just been talking about what the flight director said when it took off.
Yeah. And apparently it was not planned either.
And this morning they landed the same booster for the 12th time.
Oh my.
Nice.
Yeah. So that rocket's in pure profit now.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the latest Russian crew has been sent up to ISS wearing yellow
and blue
outfits.
Yellow and blue. But that they swear up and down that they are good Russians and supporting the Russian army, and they just had a lot of yellow material that needed used up.
Yeah.
Right. But when they boarded, they were wearing blue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they changed suits on board because they were wearing their launch suits.
Yeah.
So then they changed to their more casual. Later today, Roscosmos Press said Sometimes yellow is just yellow. The flight suits of the new crew are made in the colors of the emblem of the Bauman Moscow State Technical University, which all three graduated from. And to see a Ukrainian flag in and around everything is crazy. And there is actually a photo someone's found. One of those suits has been worn before a number of years ago. So it is a repeat suit. But I don't know. I don't know how to read it.
It's interesting timing.
Yeah. It's a great way to keep their family safe while still trying to make a statement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you can't just sneak these onto a Soyuz either.
No.
They're already having to be in there.
That's
so
like
is the
trying
current
to stick an extra sardine into a can.
Is the current increment all Russian then?
Yes. So they're right now on board. There's 3 Americans, 1 German, and 5 Russians on the station.
Interesting. Okay.
And 2 Russians and 1 American are departing soon.
And we're not sure what's going to happen to the 1 American yet.
So. Well, he'll land.
He's coming. I just don't know if they're going to let him out of the country.
Well, my question is, how's it going to work? Because there's no Americans there. And normally there's always like the American group that goes out with the Russians to the landing site to retrieve them. So it'll be interesting to see how that all goes. From the people that I've talked to at NASA, supposedly there hasn't been a lot of issues other than they don't want to do research together right now, is what's been ordered to them by Russia. But again, the astronauts generally, once they're up there, it's not like the government can really do something unless they do something with their
Astronauts
family.
are typically known for their level of professionalism.
Yeah.
Except for that one guy that snuck a Reuben sandwich onto one of the Gemini flights. Yes.
Guys, you're talking to somebody that trained astronauts, okay? Do you really want to go there with me?
I was not going to say a word, Stephanie. I was not going to say a word.
Stephanie, what is the name of the bar?
Space bar?
The one where all the astronauts hung out when they were done with their training. Every night they.
Offhand, I don't know because I'm in Huntsville, not Houston.
Oh.
But
is there not one in Huntsville? There should be an astronaut hanging. It's Air Force thing. They always
not in Huntsville. Huntsville's not an Air Force city. Huntsville. We've got U.S. Army Missile Command is here, and Marshall Space Flight Center is here.
What's the depot down there? What's the depot down there? Is it
Redstone Arsenal.
Yeah, she just mentioned that. Yeah.
But we don't. When we have astronauts coming through, those guys, they are here for as long as it takes for them to do their stuff, and they are working from the time they get up in the morning until they crash at night. Because I've trained them. So there really isn't much in the way of a hangout here. There's no time for them to. So, I mean, we used to order pizzas.
I'm terribly disappointed. There should be like a bar where they get into fights.
No, that's Space Cowboys. That's not real life.
That is real life.
Just because Clint Eastwood is in it doesn't mean it's real life.
Most of the original astronauts were Marines, Air Force, Navy,
but they're not now.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And it's a very different climate as a result. Oh yeah, I'm sure there were back in the days of Mercury and Gemini in particular. And to a limited extent, probably Apollo. But after that, when we hit shuttle and we started bringing in civilian astronauts, no, it changed the internal it changed the internal culture. So,
well, I can't remember who the guy's name was, but like I said, that one Gemini astronaut that took the Reuben sandwich up with him. That's pretty much the last thing he did for a while.
Hang on a minute. I can find that out.
Uh-oh.
No, she's still
I'm
here.
here. I'm going to go
Oh,
find
okay.
out who that was.
She just
Oh,
had to
okay.
take down the camera to poke buttons.
March 23rd, 1965. Where's the name?
It looks like he's already
John Young.
hunting it up.
Excuse me. No.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Who?
John Young. Gemini 3?
Okay,
John,
yeah.
John Young, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
He was also co-pilot or mission. No, let's see. There was pilot and mission commander.
For
first
what?
I think he was commander
shuttle.
because the backup command pilot gave the sandwich.
Yeah.
There.
I mean, for Young was also STS-1. Don't know if he was pilot or mission commander.
And then there's my homeboy, Fred Hayes.
Pull up my base.
He was one of the Apollo 13 guys. He was from Biloxi.
Oh.
We keep doing
Young was the pilot of Gemini 3. Gus Grissom was the commander.
Oh, man, that was a team.
Yeah. The original crew was Alan Shepard and Tom Stafford, but Shepard was diagnosed with Meniere's disease.
And you just cut out on us on audio.
Test 1 2 test 1 2.
Okay, we hear you now. You said he was diagnosed with, and you cut
Meniere's disease.
What is that?
If memory serves, I think it's an inner ear disorder.
That's what I thought that was what it was, but I could not remember because I don't really study that sort of thing.
And Young was commander.
Yeah.
This one.
And Young was the guy that had smuggled the corned beef sandwich on board.
Which apparently is preserved in resin somewhere.
Really? Road trip.
Okay, yeah. Road trip.
Where's the sandwich?
I am not asking the obvious question.
Was there a few
No.
bites taken out of it?
No, was it before or after digestion?
Oh.
See, he smuggled it on board, and it's hiding it in a pocket in his spacesuit. But
the Grissom Memorial Museum in Mitchell, Indiana.
Dick Slayton, the director of flight crew operations, actually gave him the go to take it up with him. But he pulls it out and he says to Grissom, he says, "Want a bite?" and it says the only problem was it started falling apart in 0G. And
well, yeah, it's a sandwich.
Each crewman took a few bites before the sandwich was restowed. They had to stow the sandwich because it was throwing crumbs and everything everywhere.
To stow the sandwich.
And they were reprimanded. Both of them were.
But their stomachs were full.
Oh, and Stephanie, you'll like this one. One of their experiments on board involved sea urchin eggs. Ouch. Can you imagine a sea urchin getting loose in 0G?
Ouch.
Yeah.
I can think of worse.
A skunk.
Oh, boy.
It wouldn't matter what the gravity was of that one. It could be 30G and that'd still be horrible.
Oh, did y'all see that video I posted up of the possum and skunk throwdown?
Yes.
No.
Oh, that was
This possum come wandering along, and here comes this skunk like, I run this show. This is my territory. And all of a sudden, he charged the possum a few times. All of a sudden, the possum just reached up, grabbed the skunk, and body slammed him.
Is this on your wall?
Yes.
Okay, gotta go find it.
And then he just like, the skunk's like, damn. And the possum just kept on going like,
Yep.
I'm not going to put up with this shit. I've had enough of your shit today.
All right, here we go.
John found the.
This is not the.
Okay, hang on. I got to get there.
It is
that's
not
the
the
sandwich.
actual sandwich.
Oh, isn't it?
Oh.
Oh.
No,
Yeah,
Was it made the same day?
This corned beef sandwich, preserved in resin, memorializes the infamous sandwich. Yeah, that's good.
That
Fake
sucks.
news.
And they should have at least took a couple bites out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just symbolically, yeah.
And they wouldn't have had to use as much resin.
No. Resin back then was expensive.
Yes, it was.
It ain't cheap now.
What?
All right. Where is it?
It's probably 3 or 4 days back.
There it is.
While you were getting ready for the show, Joe, did you see what they were doing with Starship?
No, what are they doing?
They destacked it
Oh.
again.
Well, they did roll the booster transport stand, so I got a feeling 4 is headed back for modifications or scrapping.
Speaking of which, Zach, you may know something about this. I saw something about they were thinking about rearranging the engine configuration.
Yes.
So
They're going
gonna
from
add more.
Yeah, they're adding 10 more in. Okay, Stephanie's back.
What are you talking about? 10 more.
I found the video, Joe. and the skunk just starts backing up like, oh, what just happened?
and it literally, that possum grabbed that skunk and body slammed him like.
Yes. And then the skunk is like doing circles trying to back up.
I didn't know possums could do that. I thought they like laid down and played dead.
The only thing that would have made that thing funnier is if Snoop Dogg would have narrated it.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, Snoop Dogg needs to narrate that one. No, they're up in 29 to 33. There'll be 13 in the middle of the booster, and then they're adding 3 more vacuum engines to Starship. So it'll have 6 vacuums.
That that booster is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, the most powerful rocket we have ever built.
Just don't tell NASA that.
Yeah.
They'll get rocket envy.
Oh, the entire SLS presentation was, this is the most powerful. Well, actually, it hasn't fired yet, so technically Starship might beat it. But the Starship's about double SLS.
Yeah.
Once it fully lights up.
I wonder if they could put boosters on Starship.
Structurally, I doubt it.
No. They've got to keep it pressurized so it don't collapse under its own weight.
They probably should put a sign somewhere about that, like when you're approaching the area, just as a fair warning that like ship may pop at any moment. Especially when it's stacked. It's humming the whole like I thought about that after we were on site for the Elon update.
Yeah.
And Elon's talking and there's a big vent, and I'm like, if this thing blew, we're all gone. Live. This is not good. Weird.
film at 11.
Zach,
Yeah.
Zach, you need to work on your presentation so that if it does happen, you can do the Hindenburg speech.
Okay.
It's bursting the flames, burning. Oh, the humanity! It's just.
You'd hear me screaming, you wouldn't know which way I was going.
Look up Netlin incident and watch the video.
That was a good one. What was that fuel they were using that nobody thought
It was called the Devil's Venom. It was a
Devil's Brew.
particularly
Yeah, Devil's Venom,
Mm.
Devil's Brew.
Mm.
And
it was a particularly nasty um uh, uh
Was it hypergalolic?
it was a
meddling.
hypergolic.
It was a hypergolic fuel, which means it
Yeah.
bursts into flames. Just
As soon
you
as
mix the two components, and there it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Nettlin was the field marshal in charge.
That this idiot, everyone was scared of this rocket, so the field marshal takes a chair, marches up to. I mean, why he was sitting there when they're planning on launching a rocket, I don't know.
They
But
weren't planning on launching it. It was a test.
he takes a chair, sets it down, and sits there and watches
Oh,
them.
sweetie, it wasn't just him. He ordered the entire rocket team to join him.
Oh, that was the Russian rocket.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I bet I can't spell this.
there was exactly one survivor because he had gone out of the enclosure and was having a smoke out behind the bunker.
Now we know where
And
now we know where it came from.
No.
Mm.
Where it came from was
Yeah.
that Devil's Venom is not just hypergolic, it's also extremely corrosive. And so since they'd had one tanking and they'd already tanked and they were trying to troubleshoot rather than untanking, troubleshooting and retanking, Nettlin insisted, no, you will troubleshoot while tanked. And it was never designed for the fuel to sit there in the tank that long, and it corroded through into the oxidizer.
I am going to put this on stupid. Well, wait a minute. This is a Russian video. They can't sue us right now. They're not watching Facebook, so they can't admit they saw it. And
No, but the damn bots are still active.
well, darn it. All right, I'll just
Uh,
post it to stupid bot.
So they basically took a spontaneous combustible and put it with an oxidizer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
Well, that's what a
highly-
hypergolic fuel is, dear.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. That's how you it simplifies the ignition. And that's many of our engines today still run, at least the smaller ones still run on hypergolics. They have sense enough not to use them for the larger engines, partly because of things like the Nettlin incident, and partly because they're toxic as hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're usually pretty nasty stuff.
Yeah.
We're pretty good with solid rocket fuels. So
I have to deal with hazardous materials on occasion, and I know you don't put anything
I'll tell you
else with
this.
spontaneous combustible.
The scaredest I've ever
Well-
been was going down Amnicola Highway and came up on this tanker truck, and the little placard said spontaneously explosive.
was it a 3M truck?
Now,
Yeah.
Chris, the thing that you have to realize with a hypergolic fuel is that it's not, strictly speaking, spontaneously explosive or combustible. It will only do so in the presence of its proper oxidizers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an R-16 ICBM. They were testing a nuclear tipped missile, or would have been nuclear tipped if the test had been successful.
Well, the original Russian space program saw no difference between military uses and civilian uses. It was all one and the same.
Rocket forces.
But the that one incident basically wiped out their entire rocket team, and that one thing ensured that we would beat them to the moon.
Yep. Well, that and the N1 failures. But if they'd kept the funding, they probably would have got that fifth one up.
Maybe.
You know, the rocket itself wasn't such a bad rocket if they could have figured out how to weld the plumbing. that's That's
I
what killed it. Was
don't.
all those pipes going to all those engines.
I hate that the tragedy happened to their
Mm.
science teams, but I'm glad we won the battle to the moon.
Yep.
Now we're on to do it again.
If China don't beat us there first.
Yeah.
The fuel they were using was, you see, I'm going to butcher this scientific term. You're going to help me here. Yeah. Dinitrogen tetroxide
That's the oxidizer.
and nitric acid, or nitric acid was the oxidizer.
No.
Oh no, wait.
Dinitrogen tetroxide was the oxidizer. Nitric acid was one of the components.
Okay. And then the other one was unsymmetrical dimethylhydrazine.
Yes.
Hydrazine, yeah.
Hydrazine is a family of chemicals. One of the more common ones that we use is monomethylhydrazine. But yeah, that's one of them. Yeah. So you wind up with there was a reason why they called it devil's venom.
Yes.
And yeah, the dinitrogen tetroxide is the oxidizer.
It was nicknamed devil's venom, which was used because of the high boiling temperatures and hence storability of the fuel and oxidizer, despite being extremely corrosive and toxic. These risks were accounted for in the safety requirements of the launch procedures. But Netherlands insisted on achieving Netherlands' assistance on achieving a test launch ahead of the 7 November 1960 anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution. Why they have to launch rockets on holidays? That's what fireworks are for, you idiots. Resulted in extreme schedule pressure in a context of substantial emerging engineering difficulties. In other words, they were screwing shit up. And but that's a good way of putting it. That's an engineer term right there. You can tell.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ultimately, pre-launch tests began to overlap with launch preparations. Ooh, did you know? Oh, Andrei Sakharov was involved with that.
I wrote about it in A New American Space Plan. So.
Oh, the missile designer that survived was Mikhail Yangel.
Yeah.
And the test range commanding officer. Both of them survived because they had left to smoke a cigarette behind a bunker.
Yep.
But nevertheless suffered burn injuries. Because you can't see this stuff burned.
No, you can't. Well, in the video, if you pay close attention, you realize that the people that you see running around are in fact burning, are on fire. Yes, but yeah, it's kind of like watching alcohol burn. You know, it's kind of an almost colorless flame.
Yeah, what's the race car fuel?
Nitrous.
Not
methyl.
No.
Methyl.
Methane. Nitromethane.
Nitromethane. That's the one. And when that's you see the guys with the fuel cans fueling up those vehicles in fire suits.
Yep.
Because if it starts burning while they're pouring the fuel in there, they can't tell till the heat gets them.
Yeah.
Zach, have you ever seen the launch of the first Progress rocket that went bad?
Probably.
It sort of went up and did a couple loops and went over.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever heard the audio from that?
I don't think I've seen the video. I don't think I've heard the audio.
Oh, the audio is hilarious. The guy goes, there it goes, there it goes, there it goes, there it goes. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Hope it don't come this way. Yeah, but yeah, you could tell it wasn't an overdub. You could hear in the background, like, oh no, hope it don't come this way.
Here he comes.
Oh, and
There
before
it
I forget,
goes.
Zach, that is a cool set of models you have behind you.
Oh, thank you. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Slowly growing.
Cool.
I meant to
Need
say
a bigger
something about
room.
it earlier, but kept getting
Yeah.
distracted by entertaining stories.
Yeah. Oh, and Zach's got something I want. He's got a SpaceX helmet. I
Oh,
need that.
And it fits.
even better.
Because if I'm going to do a cosplay, I want to make a cosplay of the SpaceX spacesuit.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to make the jacket.
You could put that on the Armchair Rocket Science page, Joe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, because I guarantee, and Stephanie, you're going to love this. Do you know how they get into that suit?
Offhand, no, but I can make a few
No, they
educated
changed.
guesses.
They changed it, John.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it's one zipper. It starts on one boot, goes up through the crotch and down to the other boot.
So you slip it on. And then legs?
Yeah, you go in through the crotch.
That strikes me as being prone to chafing.
Really?
Yeah.
Not the chafing part, but the
Oh yeah.
putting it on?
As an engineer.
Yeah, that's
Figure
when the French guy went up.
Oh,
He did a video.
he spoke about a lot of things he wasn't supposed to talk about.
Yeah.
That may actually work better in a chair in 0G.
I was going to say it makes sense for 0G. It doesn't make sense on the ground.
But well, the many times that you need to put it on, most of the times you put it on will be in 0G.
Right. Well, two of them will be.
Here.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got to go to the other show.
Yeah. Oh, we've already run over time.
Have we?
Well,
We
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Well, no, we still got 30
You're
seconds.
30 seconds.
Technically.
But Dan needs to get his show started. Dan, we'll see you in a minute.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, we're going to have to sort of wrap this up. But yeah.
Hey,
And-
we're only 3 away from a Brady Bunch panel.
Yeah. Excuse me.
You're excused.
And John, if for some reason they have to move the Dragon from one port to the other, all 4 astronauts have to get in and be part of the move.
Because of weight,
No. If they can't reattach,
they go home.
they go home.
Makes sense.
There's the JAXA suit if you want it.
Yeah, see the hole in the crotch?
Interesting. They don't show that part on NASA TV when they're getting ready, so.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all one-piece suit.
Interesting. That'd actually be easier to make than I thought.
You know what else?
Yeah.
A, it would be easier to put on in a suit in 0G, but B, it would be easier to get to the waste disposal
Area. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Makes
you
a lot
wouldn't
of
need
that was part
assistance
of
at
the
the pad.
design.
All right. We're
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, Dan show's already started up, so we're going to have to cut out of here. We're going to say good night, everybody. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Zach, for dropping in. Thanks, John and Chris, and of course, thanks, Dan. Of course, you're not here, but thank you anyway. And we'll wrap this up by saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. sunward I've climbed, and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds, and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.